Hi, I'm Shayna,
And I'm Frank,
and this is the Duo Athlete Podcast.
where we talk about being endurance athletes in cycling and running, and also being in a relationship and trying to train together and figure it all out when nothing really matches up with our training plans.
So, listen along for this episode. We're going to talk about Unbound, our team dynamics, a couple of crewing notes, and possibly getting into training plans and some DIY fuel if we have time. If not, it'll be on episode 3. So,
Yeah.
let's get into it. Let's talk about Unbound.
Okay. So yeah, I was hoping to have a better story, for this podcast.
An epic adventure story.
I don't even know where to start because the whole trip was a little bit messed up, but we got there and met up with some old teammates and had some new teammates there. And the race started great, and had planned on sticking with 2 of my old teammates and all of us helping each other out. The start was a mass chaos because there was 400, 500 people. It might have been more than that. I'm not sure.
It looked like a lot. I was watching on the live stream.
I kind of took it upon myself to make a hole and pull the guys through the start because I know Kevin's a little bit worried about, he tries to get up to the barricade as we're moving up to the start line. And so, yeah, we were doing, it was in the 20s, but it wasn't that bad. There was a neutral rollout, but it was really fast. And then when we hit the gravel, the car pulled off and we were racing. But yeah, we all 3 stayed up. Basically, we could see the front group until we hit the mud marathon section, and that's when the guys got a little slower, and I was on a mountain bike converted to a gravel bike, so it didn't have any clearance problems. So I was riding all that mud, and they kind of dropped off the back just a little bit, and I was feeling really good, and got onto a pretty fast group, and the mud was covering your glasses and rocks going in my mouth and spitting pebbles out and trying to see, and eventually you can't see through your glasses at all, and you're just kind of squinting, and you're hoping the guy in front's not gonna hit a hole or something because you can't really see.
So the plan was for 3 of you to stick together and try to draft trade pools. Is that what the original plan was?
Yeah, and I think Matt, that's on our team now, he said he wanted to try to hang with us, but I think he fell off on the start just a little bit, or maybe he decided he couldn't ride that hard, so I didn't really see him off the start, or Christopher. But so I got to the checkpoint 1 first, and got my pack switched, and Isaac's dad was spraying the bike off with a pressure washer, and I looked back and I saw him spraying the bottom bracket, and I was like, that's cool. I didn't even know he had one, and spraying the mud off. And
That's nice of him.
so I left the checkpoint 1, and it's like a steep climb right out of Madison, and I had to get in the granny gear and just kind of slow climb it. And when I got to the top of it, the derailleur wouldn't shift. Wouldn't shift back down. So I had to pull over and try to investigate what was going on. And while I'm messing with that, I saw Kevin and Isaac climb the hill, and they were like, "Oh no, what's going on?" And I'm just like, "I'm not sure. Just keep going. I'll be fine." And eventually saw Matt and Chris also, and they both like turned around and wanted to like help out. And I'm like,
Of course, yeah.
yeah, because they're teammates, And more people than that. Like everybody was like, "You okay?" Like everybody does that. You got everything you need.
You're not that far. You're not that far into the race at that point. What
yeah, it was
mileage?
44 miles, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot going on before then. I mean, I could talk about it for a couple hours probably, but the mud marathon section was, I could see guys like their tires just so caked up. They were guys already off the side, like scraping mud off their tires. And like they kept saying it wasn't going to be that bad because Isaac was watching the XL guys go through the night before, and they said it was smooth, but I guess it rained a lot overnight. So it was pretty bad. But I mean, my tires were getting caked up, but I've got all kinds of clearance, so I was just riding through it. There was a nice lady that walked up. I think she had sagged her husband, and he was gone, and she kept looking at me like, are you going to be okay? Do you need anything? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And she's like, well, do you need to ride back to Emporia? Because I'm getting ready to go back. And I'm like, I think I want to try to fix it and keep going. I didn't want to, I felt like it was my responsibility to fix whatever I could and try to keep going. So
Yeah. So you had not yet exhausted all options.
no, I mean, it felt like I just got started because, okay, I changed batteries and like a green light came on just for a second on the derailleur and then it went back off. And I was like, I was licking the mud off the batteries because
Gross.
my hands were covered in mud and my whole body was covered in mud. I couldn't wipe it anywhere. I was trying to wipe it on like wet grass, and then I just like licked it, and it kind of shocked my tongue. So I'm like, okay, the battery's good. Both
Right.
batteries I had were good, because I was getting that little shock, like the little 9-volt thing, on your tongue. I mean, it was.
Ew.
That's the only way I knew it was good. They were good batteries, but switch batteries back and forth, and the derailleur was just dead, and I don't really know what happened to it because it was working fine until then. So I got the phone out and got the SRAM app and tried to connect, and I spent time trying to, because I'm like,
Right.
I don't know what else to do. I need this thing.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to give up. It's not going to work. So, okay, what to do now? I got to get rid of the thing and try to make it a single speed. I mean, that's what you do when your derailleur doesn't work anymore and your shifting doesn't work. You want to keep riding your bike. You got to, don't have a tensioner or anything, so.
Well, this idea pops into your head specifically because you race single speed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this would pop into anyone else's brain. Like, you know what I want to do? Ride 150 miles with one gear. Yeah, that's a single speed guy thing.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's just a me thing too,
Might
because
be.
I was telling the story after the race, and all the other guys were like, "No, I would have quit. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
done any of that. Like, if I'd had to get my phone out to try to connect, I wouldn't even have done that."
Yeah.
But
I'm not trying to make my bike a single
I
speed.
mean, when something like that happens, like it just seemed to me, it turns into, okay, this is going to be one of those epic stories where your stuff broke and you figured it out,
Maybe.
and you rode 12 miles an hour for 140 miles, and you came in at barely under the cutoff at 3 a.m. or whatever, and you finished. So that was in my head. Like if I can get the chain on a hard enough gear, I can still ride pretty fast and might have to push up the hills,
Yeah.
but I can still finish.
Right.
But the first thing I had to do was take the derailleur off and then break the chain, get it out of the derailleur pulleys and all that stuff, and stuck the derailleur in my back pocket. And then I take the chain and wrap it around the gears and try to, okay, is it going to be tight enough on a gear that's going to work? Because, I mean, you have to get the chain back together,
Right.
and then you have to get it on the gears, and it can't be too loose or it's not going to work. It's going to fly off. And
Right. This is all because you're a bike mechanic.
yeah, I do work on my bikes a lot. So I got it where I thought, okay, this is actually going to work out with the quick link and measure the chain, and it's going to be it's not in the middle of the cassette. It's more toward like a harder gear, but there's not that many big climbs supposedly. So that's what I need. Okay. Then I got my hopes up a little bit. Okay. And I got it on there, picked the bike up and kind of started it on the front chainring and then spun the cranks, and now it's on the gears. Okay, good. Flip the bike back over and get back on it, and I start riding, and I'm like, this is going to work. This is my day now,
Yeah.
I'm doing a single speed on
Right.
Unbound 200. And that worked for about 2 blocks.
Yikes.
And
2 county blocks? I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean, it was quite a ways. I was happy for a minute, about, 5 minutes maybe. And then I felt it kind of get really tight for a second, and I backpedaled. I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. It's like, I don't know if you had that feeling like you're your hub is locking up or something's going wrong with your back wheel, and you just can't, you can feel it in your cranks and it just stops. You can't push it anymore. So I backpedaled lit it and it cleared, and then I rode for, I don't know, another 100 yards, and then it just locked up solid. I couldn't turn the pedals at all. So
Wow.
I'd go over to the side of the road. What just happened? I don't know. I couldn't see it really. And I figured out what happened. The chain jumped to a larger cog in the back, which it was already kind of tight where it was. So when it jumped to a bigger gear, it just got so tight I couldn't turn it anymore. And it kind of pulled the wheel sideways a little bit in the frame. So I didn't really understand why I did that.
Yeah.
But I guess because the cassette has these ramped teeth that are kind of leaning, to help it shift up and down. I
And
guess
there's
it
no
was
spring
just
or
close enough
anything.
because there was nothing holding the chain where I needed it. It was just hopes and dreams and prayers. But I found out I couldn't get the wheel out. Like I loosened up the skewer, and it didn't ever get loose, and I could see it. It was not really holding the wheel anymore, but it was still super tight. And I realized that the wheel was just cocked in the frame so hard, and it wouldn't come out. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this thing out of here. And I ended up like laying the bike over and just like kicking the back tire, the back wheel, and like forcing it, and it finally popped out of the frame. And okay, nothing broke.
So we got stuck. You couldn't break the chain again, or it was jammed against something.
I mean, I could have got the tool out, but I couldn't get the quick link to break because you have to squeeze the chain together to get that to loosen
Right,
up. So
right.
there's no way that was going to happen because it was like piano string tight. So that's all I could do. And I put it back together and back where it was. And like, I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe it was just a fluke. Maybe something wasn't in, just, I don't know. The only thing I could do was put it back on there and try it again. So, and actually this time it lasted, maybe 10 minutes. And I was passing people back up, and there was some downhills, and I'm like, okay, then I started like, I'm probably not going to make it to the 100-mile sag with the boys, with the guys that I'm supposed to be riding with. And
Right.
so my pack, my bottle that I was planning on getting with them, if I'm that slow, I'm not going to get there in time for Isaac's dad. He's going to have to go to the next sag. So
Right.
I called him, and just to let him know, hey, I'm not going to get there with the guys. And I was thinking, if you could just set my USWE pack and my bottle somewhere, just set it somewhere and take a picture of where it's at and send it to me.
Yeah.
So then you can leave, because I'm like, I'm not going to mess up the other guy's race, just so, I mean, because Tom is his first time he's doing this, so I don't know. What happened?
It's making a rattling noise.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm moving my...
Yeah, because you're talking with your hands.
Okay.
So we're going to have to cut this, either leave it in as me being wildly distracted by these beads that were clanging around, or we'll have to cut it out.
No,
So
that might have been a nice break in my story. Just because I'm just rambling right now. But, I mean,
You're not rambling.
it's a long day. So
You're telling your story about Tom and the 100-mile marker.
yeah, Tom's his first time sagging, and I've been there before, supporting racers for the first time and not really knowing what to do. And I was worried about him, because I didn't want him, like Kevin and Isaac, to come in and get their stuff and then leave. And then Tom's got to drive to the next, sag area.
Yeah.
Should have 3 hours, but
Should, yeah.
you
But
got to get there and drag all your stuff. And, he was having a day too. Like, he was helping another person out who had a flat tire. So he actually saved someone else's race by carrying the guy's wife which I forgot to tell you about that. But I mean, there's all kinds of details you forget on these days. But so I called Tom, and he's like, yeah, when the guys come through, I'll call you and see where you're at. So I was thinking I wouldn't be too far behind. They're probably riding 17, 18, 19 average, and I was going to do about 12, but the chain kept locking up. Like, and it did it 5 more times, and I got a bruised palm from turning that skewer, the quick release thing to get the wheel out, and kicking the very last time it popped itself out. I don't know if, and then I was like, okay, I just did something to my frame probably, because it's not really locking in there where I have to kick it, but it's getting to that last spot and then it's jumping out finally because of the tension. But the last time it locked up, I guess I was maybe climbing a hill or something when it did it, and it actually pulled so hard that it bent the front chainring, like about a ½ inch out of true.
Yeah, I saw the picture you sent. That looked insane. It looked like you crashed against something, that it would bend that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just aluminum, so eventually it's gonna get weak and bend. But so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna single speed and finish this race. I got to come up with something else, and probably not gonna finish it all. I had to accept that, and not before I took a giant rock and tried to straighten the front chainring though. And I was telling the guys this like that night. When you have a problem and your bike's off the side of the road and everybody's super nice and everybody's got stuff, extra stuff.
Right.
And
yeah.
You think you're going to get tired of saying, no, I'm okay, but it still feels good when everybody comes by and says, you got everything? You okay? You got everything?
Yeah.
And so that happened 100 times, it seems like, because I'd ride a little bit and then I have my bike upside down. And then I ride a little bit and I have it upside down and I'm kicking the back wheel out and everyone's being super nice. They see the derailleur in my back pocket and they're like, oh man, you're 50 miles in a 200-mile race and that sucks. Man, sorry, dude. Like, everyone was being super nice. But then when I had the bike upside down and I'm pounding on the front chainring with this piece of asphalt that I found in the ditch, no one said a word. There was like 20 people that passed and no one said a word. No one looked at me. Like, what is going on with this guy? So I'm probably in some epic stories of other racers.
You have definitely in some unhinged, unbound stories about the man that was beating his bike on the side of the road. Like, it was probably super relatable to everyone that rode by. Like, they wish they could beat on their bike with a rock sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that said, hey, I got quick link. You want to set it up single speed? And I'm like, yeah, man, I tried that. And yeah, it wasn't going to work. I really don't know why. Like, I even tried to find the teeth on the next cog, the ones that were maybe bent.
Yeah. So is that a 2x bike or is that a 1x?
No, it's a single 1x, 1x12,
1x12.
Yeah, it's an old Cannondale Flash mountain bike, and everyone's like, that's such a cool bike. You converted to a gravel bike, and I get a lot of comments about it. And it has good
cool.
clearance, so.
Yeah, I was saying it is cool. You should maybe talk about your bike a little bit, why that was probably, if it would have worked for you, that was probably the perfect Unbound rig.
Yeah, I mean, it does well on, like, especially when I put the lefty on it, it does well, like, on the races where there's chunky downhills and stuff, and I pass people going on the downhills a lot. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have to worry about tire size issues. Like, everybody was, like, the guys had 2 sets of wheels, and if it was going to be muddy, they were going to use their smaller tires because the gravel bikes don't have that much clearance. And remember, we had the buddy Roger who did the Unbound XL, and it was really muddy, and he ended up rubbing holes in his frame. And
yeah, the frame of his Lauf, he rubbed holes in it. I remember.
Yeah, so everybody's got the tongue depressors and the paint sticks, and like, I think like Goo and some of the vendors were giving out like stamped paint sticks. I saw those everywhere.
Cute. Yeah, that's good marketing, right?
And like the tools to. I did have some issues with my cassette when we were going through the mud. Like, if I was trying to get down to the hardest gear and it was jumping because it was caked with mud. But eventually it started raining on us, and that kind of worked its way loose. But yeah, the bike, if it wouldn't have, the derailleur wouldn't have died, I would have had a good day because I was riding through the mud and not having any issues with traction or clearance or.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's a mountain bike.
I've had friends say, if you're going to do these races, you might want to think about getting a modern, an actual gravel bike. And I do think about it, but when I saw how muddy it was going to be, I was like glad I didn't spend $10,000 on a super nice bike and have to ride it through all that stuff, because that's what everyone else is doing and their bikes are trashed today.
Yeah, so like then their bikes are ruined, and they're rebuilding them.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I mean, that bike isn't heavy. That's super light, and you put a fork on the what am I trying to say?
Yeah, it's a rigid
Rigid,
carbon fork.
yeah.
Yeah, like, Chinese brand, but it's it's pretty solid. And
Drop bars, arrow bars.
And that's why I didn't have the lefty on, because the lefty, it's not a gravel. They make gravel lefties that have like really short, like 80 millimeter travel, or maybe even less than that, 60. But this is an actual mountain bike lefty, and it's got 120 millimeters of travel, so it raises the front end of the bike up a lot more than that rigid fork does. So I was thinking I need to be lower. Even borrowed some arrow bar clip-ons, and I didn't get a chance to use them because I was with a group,
Right.
But
Well, you did get a chance to kind of test and tune.
yeah, they are
I mean-
they are definitely faster, and it was kind of comfortable having your forearms up on the pads, and
Right.
especially with the shifter, the blips.
Blips.
on the arrow bars. It was gonna work if I
know,
would have made it.
That was a solid setup for Unbound for doing 200 miles. And you said you're feeling really good too for the first 50 miles. So
Yeah, I mean, I think I had
Disappointing.
an 18 point something average before the wheels came off, and
literally,
I kind of figured the guys would catch up with me because I was riding. I was on a group that I was hanging on,
right.
and I did a pull or two, but I mean they were riding pretty fast, so I figured I would get dropped off the back of that eventually, and then I'd see Kevin and Isaac and maybe Matt and Christopher, and I mean that would be a perfect day. All the new and old teammates, and just helping each other out and making it across the finish line. But
Right.
yeah, all the emotions, because I wasn't going to get to help the guys, anybody. They're gone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get to finish all the effort it took to get there, and like it wasn't me. Like I didn't cramp, I didn't crash. It wasn't something that I did. It was just a piece of electronic gear that just decided to stop working.
Yeah.
And just so close to actually making it work with the single speed thing set up. But so then I'm walking, the chain's in my in my back pocket, and the derailleur's in my back pocket, and eventually, well, so much sand in my shoes and my socks, after about, I don't know, it wasn't even 15 minutes of walking, I had blisters on my back of my ankles, and it was pretty painful.
I bet.
So I even tried to take my socks off and shake them out, and then I tried to go without socks because I thought the sand was in my socks, but it didn't matter at that point.
There's sand
I was already
everywhere.
bleeding, so I just dropped the saddle on the bike as far as I could, and just tried to scooter it, basically strider bike it. And now I was making pretty good time for a while. Like I was getting up to around 7-8 miles an hour, just kicking back and forth, and then I would clip in and just use one leg, and then switch legs. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to finish the race like this.
Right.
But in my mind, I was like, if I can make it to the next sag, then I could get some help or get a ride back. And so I called you to let you know what was going on, and thankful I did, because I don't know what I was thinking. I was at 51 miles, and I saw Texaco Hill on the checkpoint list on my top tube. It was 61.
Yeah, it was around 60 something.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do this for 10 miles. I've already done it for 5. I can do it for 10. But I guess I was thinking that was going to be that was a checkpoint or a sag spot, and
That's water only. Yeah. Good thing you did call me, because I was trying to get a hold of. You did have a crew out there, and you did have someone to come get you. So not trying to say that we were breaking Unbound rules, but
right.
that person was also actively trying to crew for other people. So lesson possibly learned that if you're going to crew for multiple people, you probably need multiple crew members. But yeah, when you called me, I was trying to get a hold of somebody else to come pick you up, and eventually succeeded in getting you picked up logistically with trying to use Apple like share my location, and the Garmin Connect. We use the Garmin Connect LiveTrack, so I can see where you are. I try to get you like picked up because the water oasis was further west, and I know it like it kind of killed you a little bit when I told you had to turn around. I was like, you got to stop going west because you're not doing yourself any good. Like, you got to stop and go north.
Yeah, I did not.
Or
I did
east.
not want to do that.
Yeah, no, you were like about to argue with me about it, and I'm like,
I was so mad. Like,
I looked it up on the Apple Maps. I was like, if you literally at a walking pace to try to get to Texaco Hill, it said it was gonna take you 3.5 hours just to walk there. I'm like, that's not sustainable. When Emporia is literally north, like if you're gonna walk and spend that energy, you need to go north, and then east a little bit to get to the highway, but mostly north. So, yeah, I could tell like you were getting a little like upset by it. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but
no, I get it.
you
I
need
mean,
to go north.
I was delusional because somebody rode by me, and he said something like, "You never know, man. Somebody might DNF and like give you their bike or something." And
I know, like,
I don't even know if you can do that. Switch bikes.
You probably could, but what are the chances somebody is going to be over 6 foot tall with a
You know what?
large
If I had a
bike?
chain on something, I don't care how big the bike was, I would have finished that race. But and then I was thinking, okay, what do I need? What do I actually need? Like, if somebody had a cheap cable derailleur that I could lock in a position to make it single speed and have the tensioner, so if it jumped, it wouldn't lock up, it wouldn't matter. It could jump around a little bit. It would be irritating, but you could still ride it, right? But now I also need a front chain ring, so I got to find a SRAM tent out in the middle of nowhere with a mechanic and parts, and like this could happen.
Yeah,
I don't know what's at Texaco Hill. It could be SRAM crew there, but when you're like, you can't keep going away from Emporia. You're like quit it. Like, you're walking your bike now. You got to start heading back to town.
I know, which is the unfortunate part of being, like, even though I wasn't there, still a crew member. And, like, we can talk about it when we talk about, like, crewing, but, like, you have to be, like, the brains for your rider or runner sometimes, and you have to make some kind of call, and you would be like, we're not doing this.
Yeah,
Like,
because I didn't know what I was doing.
I know. Well, all the rider wants to think about, or the racer wants to think about, is finishing the race. Like, that's what you went there to do. And your crew has to be the one and be like, you cannot finish your race when you need to literally replace your entire drivetrain right now.
Yeah, if it's
Like-
just if your racer is whining because they're hurting, or they're cramping, or they're hot, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
Then your crew person has to be like, no, you're fine.
Yeah, no, like, you're fine.
Get
You
back
can go.
out there.
Like, you look great.
So
You're doing
it goes
great.
both ways, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you have to be like, even, 500 miles away? I'm like, you can't keep doing this. Like, turn around, go north. I'll find somebody to come get you. Even if it's me. Like, you
Yeah,
can't.
what was going through my head right now, because I made that left turn, and you said you gotta go back where you made that left. You gotta go straight, because that's taking you back toward Emporia. And my first thought was, I'm not gonna have anybody. I'm not gonna see anybody. I'm not gonna see anything. There's not gonna be any more racers passing me.
But it was one section of road until you hit the course again.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I
Like,
know.
you
I was
said
trying to
that,
tell you.
but I didn't
I know. I
know
was trying to
that.
tell you. Like, if you look on the map, it was one section of road until you hit the 30-mile marker of the course again. And you were back. Technically, you were back on course. I don't know if you would have seen anybody.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, well, everybody's already past that
They're
point.
past that, but at least you would be on the course for some kind of sweeper or a Shimano car or something to go past you that are sweeping the course possibly. Like, you're still on the course. If you just get back to where,
Yeah, I mean, you could see the map where I was, and all I could see was
I don't know, whatever you can see,
yeah.
farmland or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna be alone, and we had already crossed some like bridges that were like the concrete bridges that are in the creek, where the water's running over them,
Yeah.
and you can't really tell how deep it is until you get into it. And I'm thinking, man, one of these roads is not on the course, may not be even passable. I might have to like swim across something. So you never know what you're gonna run across, right?
Right.
So,
I figured that you would have the judgment call to be like, okay, well, I understand why I was being told to run north, but can't do that there. So you would have decided to go back, try it again to the
Yeah.
next. But
Well, I mean, at that moment when I turned around and made that left now and started going down that road, and actually there was a guy standing there at the corner looking at his bike with his back to me, and I kind of like stridered my bike up close to him, and I was going to say hi, and then I realized he was taking a piss. So
Oh.
I was like, oh, sorry, I just like rode right up to you while you were doing that. So I went around that guy, but it was like, I'm off the course now. My Unbound 200 journey's over. I'm done. Like I'm not a racer anymore. I'm just a guy trying to get back to town. And you know, I was feeling bad about taking up your time because I know you had plans to run that day, and you know you were worried about me, and you were doing all the logistics and trying to get a hold of everybody and on Discord and on Messenger. And
yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna be able to go run knowing that you were basically left out in the middle of Kansas.
yeah, that's what it felt like though. I was like, babe, just go ahead and go run. I'm fine. Like somebody's like you told Michelle where, and you gave her my location. I'm gonna be fine. I'm not gonna die out here. But then when we got off the phone, I was pretty sad because then I was just completely alone and like with all my feelings, and it was still thundering and lightning and raining on me here and there, and
Yeah.
you know, and so I guess Michelle called, or I called her. You told me to call her. I sent her my location.
I was doing the like triangle thing where I was texting Michelle and I was texting you and I was trying to give you and Michelle everybody's like phone numbers and like, cause she said she would come get you, but I was trying to coordinate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in my head I was trying to figure out, okay, she was supposed to be sagging for David, but he only had one sag. He was doing the 100. And I'm like, oh, I hope to God she doesn't leave to come get me before he gets there.
Right.
Not realizing that they had made plans for him to do the sag for hire, so she was free to do whatever.
Yeah, she could. Yeah, I didn't know that either. But also, I mean, that kind of brings up a good topic. Like, you can ask for somebody for help, but it's a little bit their responsibility to say no.
Right.
Like, I called one of the local guys around here. I called him, and he said, absolutely not, cannot go get him. And he's like, I am, like, crewing
Yeah,
for...
because he was waiting for
Yeah,
riders
he
to
was
come in,
on
right?
the 100-mile course. He's like, I'm on the 100-mile course. There's no way I can get to him. Okay, cool. Thanks for picking up the phone, at least. Because some random lady just called you. You've only talked to once or twice before. So at least he, you know. But yeah, I kind of felt that too. I was like, I hope I don't just like wildly inconvenience Michelle and David and just mess up his day. But
Yeah, and she just got a fairly new car, and I was thinking about her having to drive through not gravel roads,
just some peanut
like
butter
no
mud.
maintenance mud,
Yeah.
dirt roads, farm roads, where I couldn't see anything but the Kansas countryside from where I was. There was nothing out there.
Right.
There's no houses. There's nothing out there. And so, yeah, I'm just walking up the hills and coasting down and doing the, strider thing. And it wasn't that long, really. I don't know how many miles it was. I ended up doing like 10 extra miles like after the chain came off. So
Yeah, I thought you did end your ride at like 60 some.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was at 60 miles, and it was 44 miles at the sag right when the derailleur stopped. So I rode a little bit before, catastrophic failure, but it wasn't more than a mile or two. So I walked and strided, and legs are all chewed up from, I was doing the leg thing, sitting on the lowered saddle, and I kept scratching the shit out of my legs. I'm like, why are my pedals so sharp? I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm bleeding down here, and it was just sand.
Oh.
The pedals had sand on them, and like it was just taking skin off. And I'm like, okay, I gotta stop doing that.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so worried about Michelle's car, worried about everything, and like I was thinking, can I
you're
get?
just like a giant inconvenience to everybody because your bike is broken
Yeah.
and you need picked up. So yeah.
I mean, I should be able to finish the damn race that I started, right?
Right.
Everyone else is, but I didn't realize
Yeah.
how many people were actually DNFing.
Yeah, like
a bunch.
So many.
So I think I asked you a few times, like, which way do I need to go to get to like a blacktop road so someone can pick me up and not have to drive on these gravel roads? Because Like if you got off just a little bit off to the side, it got super soft. Like you
Yeah.
could hardly ride in it. So I can only imagine what that would do to somebody's car. But
Yeah. I mean, that's why I try to tell you to get on the Apple, like, navigation and, like, go do the walking directions or whatever, because I couldn't. It's hard to tell if you're just looking at a map, like, which way to tell somebody to go, because you were in, like, a triangle of roads, like, whatever that was, like, 90 or something. That was kind of running north and south, but then there's 35, but 35 is further west, so that seemed ridiculous to tell you to go further west when you're definitely heading away from Emporia.
yeah.
And there wasn't really another highway. There was another highway, like, south of you, but it might have been, like, just a 2-lane road according to the map. Like, it was just a thicker line on the map. I couldn't really tell.
I mean, I think that's the point of the race, because you're just out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But it's, that's terrible to try to tell somebody where to go to try to get picked up. But didn't you take an adventurous short trip in the back of a pickup truck or something?
Well, so yeah, I think I made it back on the course. It was 100-mile riders that were coming through, but they were almost getting, like, the sweep vehicle was right behind them. So that was the tail end of the 100-milers, and I think some of them were getting pulled off the course. But I think I pulled out my phone again, and, like, when you told me to put in just Emporia in your Apple Maps, in your navigation, and it said like 13 hours, I'm like, okay, but I'm actually, moving faster than walking pace, so maybe it won't be that far. Because
Right.
it's in my head still, I'm like, okay, if nobody gets here, Tom, whenever the guys get through 180 or 186 or whatever the last checkpoint is, then he's free to
Right.
come and get me. And who knows where I'll be, but I'm just going to keep heading that direction. And then we, worked out with Michelle, and I looked on my map, and I was like, okay, if I take a right here, I'm going to Olpe, Olpe, however you pronounce that, Olpe. It's a town.
Right.
There's some stuff there,
Yeah.
and so there's going to be some roads. And so I'm talking to Michelle. I'm like, she said she was heading there in that direction. And I was like, how about you stop there and I'll just make it to you? Not realizing that it was still like 15 miles of walking and scootering. It didn't look like that on the map,
Right.
and, like, didn't have good reception. So she wasn't catching all that, but she heard me say that, I guess.
Okay. You're
And
on the phone with her.
she saw how far it was.
Yeah. So she's
So
like,
she's like, I'm
Yeah,
going
you're
to
not
go get
doing
it. Because
that.
she saw the lightning and stuff, and she was, like, worried about me. Like, he's out there walking his bike in the thunderstorm, And so she decided to go past where I told her to stop and come get me where, remember, my location showed up.
where basically the Find My,
Yeah.
the Apple Find My told her you were, like, your last location, probably when she clicked navigate, which sends me off on another tangent. Like, you'd have to go back and keep clicking on your location and clicking navigate to figure out where you were, to
Yeah, if I'm
pinpoint
moving, you gotta
Yeah.
redo it every time. So that's probably what happened. And the cell reception was bad out there,
Terrible.
right in that spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm turning the corner and I start, like, I'm gonna head to the town. I'm getting picked up, and I saw this when I turned the corner. I saw this pickup truck, and I thought he was like the sweep vehicle, and I figured he would make that turn and just follow the riders. But I kind of heard him coming up beside me, and then I was like, oh, there's just a farmer out here, trying to get around all these riders, and he's going somewhere. But because he was driving pretty fast, I thought he was going to pass me up, and he kind of came up and stopped and rolled the window down, and he said something. I didn't really hear him, and it was he wasn't a teenager, but he wasn't out of high school for very, very long. But he's like, do you need a ride? Where are you headed? And I was like, well, I'm trying to make it to Olpe. And he said he was picking up, riders that needed a ride back. And so I figured out that he was volunteering,
Oh,
basically.
okay, it's volunteer. Yeah.
And he's like,
That's
you want to
cool.
ride? And I'm like, again, I'm so stupid sometimes. Like, in that moment, I really thought, like, I was cheating again somehow, like, by getting a ride, because I needed to, like, I was supposed to have a working bike and a working body, and I signed up for this damn race, and I wasn't going to be able to finish it, so I needed to walk all the way back, you know.
So you need to punish yourself by
I
walking?
guess so. I don't know.
Like, you just accept the help that
Yeah,
people
it's
were
tough.
offering you?
It's tough. I mean, the guy is there to help people,
Literally
and I'm like,
pick up people.
I'm like debating in my mind whether I want to accept it or not. And I finally I actually thought about, I don't know, just didn't want anybody else to get their car messed up. So I almost thought maybe I can call Michelle before she gets out there and turn her around, because he was literally going to take me back to Emporia if I wanted to, because that's what he was doing.
Oh, okay. That he was just like a sweeper?
So, but then I couldn't like get her on my cell.
Because there was no service?
And so I'm like, okay, can you just take me to Opie? And I figured it was right around the corner, you know, because from my map, it looked like it wasn't that far.
Yeah, it definitely did look.
And he had a 4x Kuat, so it was, you know, it was a nice pickup truck with
nice.
He said it was the Unbound people's bike rack. It wasn't his, because I asked him that, because it was covered in mud. Like, oh man, you're getting your bike rack thrashed. And he's like, it ain't mine.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, he's like, go ahead and put your bike. I loaded the bike up, you know, and I was like, do you want me to ride in back? He's like, no, get up front. And he had a blanket, you know, so I put that over the seat, and I got in there and started chatting with him a little bit. And he's from Kansas City. He was, as he said, and he's heard of Evansville. I didn't catch his name. I don't think we didn't do that.
You didn't do the formalities.
Yeah. But he was like a 4-wheel drive guy. Like, he did that. That was his hobby. Like, not. I asked him if it was side by side. He's like, no, it was like Jeeps and pickup trucks. And he drove that truck 60, 70 miles. It felt like, down these dirt roads. And like, okay.
I was watching you on the.
Put my seatbelt on, you know, and
Yeah.
we started sliding a little bit. But he was a good driver.
I was watching you on the map, and I was like, wow, that really looks like he's moving. But then, like, your average speed really wasn't changing that much. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe the distance is really short. Like, maybe my perception of how far away wherever he's going is like shorter than what this map looks like. I'm like, I don't know. I'm so confused. Like, why is this dot moving so fast all of a sudden? And I did see it spike like your GPS spiked at like 40 miles an hour one time. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's very fast. There's no way there's a downhill that fast. He actually rode downhill that not clipped in. Makes sense now. There was a dude with a pickup truck that because you had to leave your LiveTrack on so that we could all see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that. It just happened.
Oh, you just threw it on the back?
Yeah,
okay. So, like, yeah, we were all trying to find you. I guess by that point, we all had the Apple.
Yeah, I was
locator
sharing
on
my
you,
location
so,
with several people,
yeah.
like, till the end of the day. So that was just a one and done kind of thing. I didn't have to.
Yeah,
And I guess I stopped my ride on my Garmin, because it stopped at that point at 60 miles when he picked me up. It didn't go all the way back to Opie.
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was watching it at one point, but then, like, you either messaged me or Michelle did, or somebody sent me a message that you got to a gas station. So
Yeah. I mean, when you said you were, you know, you put the call in for help on Messenger and all the groups, and I was like, oh man, everybody knows that something happened, you know. And
I said it was a major mechanical. Like, I made it sound serious, okay? Like, so there was going to be no.
Frank's out there stranded by himself, needs help. The worst thing that I want to hear. But yeah, everyone was so gracious and like trying to help, and that was awesome.
So like
got me emotional.
That's you though. Like, you don't want to accept help, but like me saying that it was a major mechanical without trying to go into a bunch of detail, like, I don't think that's not embarrassing. Like, it just happened to you. Like, it just happened. Like, that was out of your control. Like, that's one of those things that's like, that's out of your control. What are you going to do about it? You can't fix it. You did everything you could. You did more than I think a reasonable bike racer would have done to try to fix that situation and continue to ride. So at some point, yeah, you just have to accept the call that your crew makes for you, and then you have to accept the help to try to get you and your bike back, and how many pieces you took it apart in, back to Emporia.
Yeah, it just became get back and watch everybody else finish and be proud of the teammates, and
that sucks.
Everyone did really good. Like Kevin and Isaac, they were right, even with all the mud and like the conditions were pretty bad. what they wanted to, what the time they wanted to finish, and they were real close to that. So
That's
Matt,
good.
Chris beat the sun. So everyone had amazing races. Misty did, like, I think she was 11th or something in her age group, and
Nice.
like I was worried because I was thinking I was gonna have to get back and wait for everybody to finish for hours before I could get into the condo because I didn't take a key with me, and I was, resigned to just to stand there and
Be
be
covered in
muddy
mud.
for the rest of the day. But Misty was already done, so that was, she did really well.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So yeah, I was really thankful that Michelle was willing to come out there and get me. And even though we passed each other somehow, I was in the truck and she was in the car, and she went to where I was, not the gas station. But yeah, it worked out. She came and got me, and
It didn't mess up. Yeah, David had a crew, and then David did a great job finishing. So yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I can understand a little bit when I pulled out of Dust Bowl because I thought my wrist was broken, and then I got back to the start basically, and I was like, could I have? And then I'm like, I can't even lift my bike up. I cannot even pick up my bike.
Yeah.
I have to one arm my bike onto this bike rack right now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there comes a point where if you can't hold on, and you've got some sketchy downhills and stuff, it's
yeah,
even if you want to, you have to say no.
yeah,
But you also hear the epic stories of, Roger crashed and broke his collarbone or whatever, rib or something, and he got back up and finished the
Finished
350.
it.
And that's a story that gets passed around, and
Yeah, you're
you
like,
don't forget about it.
am I just whiny because my wrist hurts, or should I have actually pulled out of the race? But that's just off on a side tangent. Just trying to relate to your pain about not finishing a race, because I get it.
Yeah, and everybody was so nice. I got back to the condo, and they wanted to know what happened. I'm telling the story of all the things I'm trying, and beating
Yeah.
on the bike with a rock, and like, Kevin's like, you got the best story. We finished the race, but you got
like
the best story. And
definitely have a good story.
yeah, and I told you earlier, like, if it would have been a perfect day and I felt good all day and I was able to work with the guys, and we all finished together, it would have been really amazing. But that probably would have been the end of my Unbound story.
That would have been definitely.
I got the finishers, hoodie thing and the medal and the T-shirt and I would have been able to put the stickers on stuff instead of throwing them away because I didn't want to see them. I don't deserve to put these stickers anywhere.
Stop.
And
So
don't want to keep my number plate. It's like it might. Well, I guess I've had number plates with my name on them before, but not very many. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It would have been like a chapter close, like moving on, like off to the next, like.
Yeah.
Big
Now
thing.
I got a dragon to slay, so to speak. I got to go back and finish it, and like.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide, okay, what do I need to carry so this doesn't happen? Do I need like an old derailleur or a single speed tensioner and a single speed cog? Like that stuff, how heavy is that? How heavy would that be to stuff that in your frame bag? And like, you can't think of everything.
Yeah, no,
like you could rip a tire in half and you don't have a tire.
Yeah, like you can't stuff a whole extra bike in.
But you can think of some things. And I was like, okay, so I need a gravel frame that has sliding dropouts, so I can, if that happens again, I can just loosen the bolts up and pull the wheel back and tighten the chain up, and it's not going to come off. Like, I'm trying to think of all these things. Like when I go back, I need everything covered so I can, no matter what, I can finish this damn thing. But
yeah, but
I also still want to finish it on the same bike because it's just the bike that I use and it does well. It's not the bike's fault. I don't know whose fault it is, but it's a good bike.
It's just something that happened.
And I might not get in. It's not like you can just sign up for this thing. So
yeah, so now we're talking about an unfinished chapter, and now back to Unbound qualifiers. And it's kind of funny to me that it's turned into this, because when we talked on the podcast last week, it didn't seem like you were that into it.
I know.
You were like, I don't know, I'm going to Unbound, but like that's not like the main event this year. Like I'd spend more time thinking about Leadville spend more time thinking about Marji than I spend thinking about Unbound. But now Unbound is probably going to end up being like a fixation for the
Yeah,
next 365 days at least.
that's a good point. I've been thinking about that too. And the angle that I'm coming at it is that happened. This all happened because I didn't make it this big thing and be super proud that I got the coin and got in and make it my A race this year and put all the, mental energy into it. And I was scared of it. I'm not saying that I took it for granted. I didn't know because I've never done a 200-mile gravel race.
Right.
I've done centuries. I've done 100-mile mountain bike races. That's different. And like I was talking with Kevin because he said he's been doing so much gravel, he doesn't have that cross country mountain bike body and motor right now. And I was saying I'm kind of in the middle. It feels like I haven't done enough long. I mean, I've done some centuries on the road and stuff like that, but it kind of feels like the constant pedaling for 200 miles. I wasn't sure if I could do that, but I also can't redline an XC race like I used to be able to 10 years ago. So I'm kind of in the middle of both and trying to figure out, which way I need to go.
That's different. I mean, those are different engines, so to speak, in your body. So, yeah, I mean, that feeling is probably correct, like that intuition that you can have that really long and slow engine, but you are going to eventually miss out on the snappiness of the VO2 max.
Yeah.
And this happens to runners too. If you're building a lot, you're doing a lot of base, like building mileage, like long, slow runs like you're supposed to, your VO2 max, like your snappy, like your speed work, and that will suffer.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and like work on that after you get done doing like base type easy runs. So yeah, I mean those are totally different skills, but also you can see, I mean, we're not elite athletes, but you can see that it can be physically done they compete in the Grand Prix, and then they also go and do like marathon mountain bike, and they do the cross country races like UCI. So you know that those two things can exist together.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically why we started this podcast, to talk about, how is training for running affecting our cycling and vice versa.
And how are all these training cycles, how does that all add up?
But what happens is, if like, for instance, I've been running more and I've been neglecting cycling training a little bit because you have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you only have so many hours in the day.
Right. So if if I would have finished Unbound and I would have finished behind everybody, like I would have kind of blown up or something like cramped or just didn't have any power and just kind of rolled in behind everybody, then it would have been like, okay, he's been running too much probably. But if I felt amazing for 44 miles and like if I would have came in front of everybody, it would have been like, running doesn't hurt you.
Yeah, running is cross training.
So it just depends on how you're performing, where who's going to say what. So
but
yeah, we'll find out. I mean, I think like people who ran in college and like cross country runners, if they go to cycling, they're badass basically because the lung capacity and the heart and
your aerobic system. Yeah.
So, the VO2 max is going to increase, and that's what I'm hoping anyways.
The same can be said for people that go from biking over to running though, because again, your aerobic system, like when I started running again, my legs, like the muscular like recruitment would kill me before like my heart or my lungs would basically start burning. Like trying to recruit muscles in my legs to do an actual run, like because it's just like the impact of it was exhausting.
Yeah.
Until I got the muscles to catch up to that, and then it's like, oh, okay, no, I can do this for actual days because I have the lung capacity and the aerobic system to do so. So I just need to like tune all that together. But that's very nuanced.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to be done talking about Unbound until next year. Hopefully I can get back in.
Yeah, I mean, it can pop up again as a subject on when we talk about a lottery or we talk about qualifiers or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I would say you probably have some good lessons learned from Unbound and a good story to tell for sure. Because, God, there's got to be people out there talking about this dude that was beating his bike with a rock on the side of the road. Like, you probably looked like some kind of caveman.
I did,
Just like
yeah.
going insane about his bike.
And I got that thing straightened out.
Yeah.
I got it straightened out, but I wasn't delicate enough with this
With
chunk
a
of
rock?
asphalt. And so, like, some of the teeth were bent too far.
Oh.
And I even, like, I tried to, like, tap it. I was doing some body work, and I had all day, So I tried to straighten the teeth out, and then I got the chain back out of my pocket, and I just laid it across there just to see if it would, like, sync with the chain ring, and it wasn't happening. So, yeah. Don't get wild with your hands and bump your... Yeah, we got some new mic podcast stands.
Yeah, got some
Booms
or floor stands or whatever you want to.
You know what we did not do is start the timer so we could see how long we...
Well, in the bottom right-hand screen of this software on the TV, it says 58 minutes.
Ooh,
and
okay.
6 seconds.
I think that's enough of Unbound.
Yeah, we can talk about Unbound for an hour.
I mean, I could do it for... I left out all kinds of stuff. But I'm probably going to do I've never done a race recap where, it was a DNF. It's always like an amazing story and I accomplished this. And
yeah, and your training was so good. And yeah,
I think that'd be good for the ego just to, this was what happened and I failed.
You could probably take this audio and have it transcribed into a race recap if you wanted.
Yeah.
Or this is your race recap. Everybody can like and subscribe.
Yeah.
To the podcast.
Start doing the race recaps on here.
Yeah, like you can vocalize your race recaps. Like, hey, you want a good race recap? You can like and subscribe to our podcast. We got race recaps. But this is going to be the last race recap for a while.
Yeah, what do we got next?
We're not racing again that I know of until July. In Pennsylvania. Wilderness 101, which I guess you'll do the 101 mile. And I will do the 101 kilometers.
Yeah, because you're doing the marathon series.
Yeah, marathon NUE series. And I felt like that was a good place to start, seeing as I've never raced anything over 35 miles before Big Frog. So marathon seemed like a good place to start for Marji training, because this is all... My whole training plan for this whole year was based on the fact that I had this crazy idea of getting in the Marji worst of both worlds duathlon. So
remind me how far that is again.
Oh, well, it's 100 miles, but it's a 64, 65 miles on the bike, and then 44 miles of running.
I'm not great at math. That sounds like more than 100 miles.
Yeah, I think it's like 109. I think the course said it was 109 miles. Well, it's like the Leadville 100's not actually 100 miles.
Yeah, none of the 100s
Nobody is ever actually advertising 100 miles.
It's never less. It's never
Definitely
less than
not
100.
ever less. Yeah, it's never less than 100K or less than 100 mile.
Yeah,
so,
that's the thing we're training for.
Yeah, Marji.
And we got maybe another 50K run.
Yeah, the nighttime run in Illinois at that camp that I can't pronounce. I'm not going to embarrass myself on the podcast.
On the Sunk.
There you go. That one. Say it again.
On the Sunk.
On the Sunk.
It's Native American.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it means.
Okay. Well,
Dark running trails, I think is what it means.
I think you just made that up.
Yeah, I did.
The nighttime 50K out there, which they have a 100-miler also, and 100K. No, there's a lot of events going on, but there's a nighttime 50K, and we're going to use that to test gear for Marji, because we're going to be running at night at Marji more than likely.
Lights. We need lights.
Lights and food. And
maybe we can talk about lighting and which ones we like.
For sure.
And which ones we don't like.
Yeah, definitely want to work in gear onto our episodes, because I don't feel like, unless I'm like missing is somewhere I'm like a pretty enthusiastic podcast listener, and like I feel like not a lot of people talk about gear, and I like talking about gear.
I do too.
I'm a gear junkie. Like I like talking about that stuff. So we could probably work that into
Yeah.
episodes. We could probably cut this out of this episode of us talking about more episodes, but
Yeah, we can do that.
we could probably
Cut and paste.
cut that out. How long do you want to go? Because we're at 100.
I want to stop right now.
You what?
I think we should wrap it up.
Just the Unbound recap?
I mean, I don't know if we need to cut anything, but yeah, I think we need to wrap it up, and we can either stop tonight or do another episode while we got everything set up.
Okay. Well, it's 10 o'clock at night, so we should probably stop
Okay.
for the night. We should probably almost reshoot the intro because we didn't get to any of that. None of it. We did the Unbound recap. And that's a perfectly good hour-long episode of telling a story.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
We should probably reshoot the intro, but first we need to do the outro. So, okay. That's episode 2 of many for us. Unbound recap from Frank.
Unbound DNF recap from Frank.
DNF. Unfinished business.
Definitely.
As Todd would say.
Yeah.
Blame Todd and Danny.
Yeah.
So next episode we will probably do the team and friend dynamics for big races like that. How it works, like being away from your partner, like long distance, like basically me trying to crew remotely. That was cool. Talk about crewing 4 people.
Crewing could be a multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crewing can definitely be a multi-episode thing. We can talk about crewing, and then we can talk about the riders, and then we can, because both of us have done both jobs, so that'd be good. Training plans, and then our DIY fuel and electrolytes. And I do want to talk about how I use AI in training also. Like,
It's been great.
yeah, I think it's been good. But that's kind of teaser topics that are coming up for more episodes. But yeah, for now, that's the end of
We got endless ideas, so it's gonna
episode
go on
2.
forever.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. Well, everybody needs to like and subscribe, and we'll see everybody on episode 3.
Yep. Goodbye.
See ya.